Good morning, everyone. I'm going to have to update this. All right, that's enough stream intro for one day. Welcome to this edition of V Radio. Got my trusty Red Bull here, and I'm going to do some content. Sorry that it took so long. It's been a full 10 days since I've done anything, and I apologize for that. I have been in and out of doctors' offices, mechanics' offices trying to fix my car, and in addition to that, I also have doctor's appointments for my daughter, who has a severe neurological disorder and sleep disorder. So it's just been lots of drama here. I appreciate all of you for your support. Thank you very much for supporting V Radio. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can go to the website that you see linked above, hy.page/VRadio. There you can find my social media accounts. I'm very active on Discord, Facebook, Telegram. We have a Telegram channel. It's not very chatty, but I do all of this just to be absolutely sure that you're actually made aware when I go live. I know this is a little early, but it seems like I got an okay crowd today. You guys usually watch this stuff later anyway. Everybody kind of lives in a, how would I put it, on-demand way of looking at things now. I was talking to my kids not long ago, and yeah, I noticed something. We used to watch movies over and over again. Nobody does that anymore. It was like the most preposterous thing ever to my children that we might ever watch a video twice. Although my son and I did kind of bond watching Breaking Bad, and he was considering wanting to watch it again. So I guess sometimes they'll watch something again. But in general, the reason that bothers me is you don't really get the nuances of things. Like, I mean, I go back and watch films from the 80s and notice new things I never saw before. Say hello to everybody in the chat. What's going on? Liazel7, Pia D, Troll with a Purpose, SawCon, and Mads Lindstrom, along with Lucifer the Doberman, who is at work, who said that they will check this out later. All right, folks. So, get the dumb stuff out of the way. I'm still looking for new patrons. I'm only getting about $80 a month on that right now, which is another part of the problem is I've had to look for some means to make other money. So if you would like the previous frequency of stuff, please consider that because it'll draw my priorities in that direction. I don't even like being in that situation, as you all well know, but I'm trying to be able to create a situation where I don't have to get a stupid job, but instead I can do a smart job of putting out content for people like you, people who want to think clearly here today. So I stumbled across this treasure trove. I think Mark Ruffalo was the one who broke this, but it had to do with a kindergarten LGBTQ curriculum that is being used right now. And we wanted to go over it with you guys. I also discovered a pretty crazy YouTube channel that is used by said curriculum. So we're going to be going over some of that. They had an interesting little video where they're crying about being sued on YouTube. I thought I might play that first just to get us warmed up, and then we'll get into it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And then Small Axolotl says, all 16 of us, hey, it's quality over quantity, man. Quality over quantity. So, let me see. Oh boy, my phone's still on. We're suing YouTube. All right, one sec. Not me, the people in this video. So apparently LGBTQ people have been complaining about getting censored on YouTube. Interesting. I'm going to go over that here. Nerd. That's another thing. This used to be a slur, man. Like, this used to be something that signaled, okay, great, now they're going to beat me up after school. So the idea now that people call each other nerds, and then more importantly, that people get snobby about being better at being nerds than other people. It's still kind of like, yeah. Coffee, chickens, and V Radio. Yeah, I don't drink coffee. I'm drinking Red Bull, but chickens too. So, like, are you eating chickens plural? Jeez, you're hungry. Oh, there's a memory. Nerds! Ogre, yep. The jocks and normies are pretending to be nerds now. Yeah, I would agree. That's definitely true, man. All right, so first I'm going to play this video of people from this LGBTQ channel that are whining about getting apparently censored on YouTube. I thought this was interesting because I know everything that I do talking about how lame they are usually gets demonetized. So let's have a look. All right, here we go.
Do you know what sucks? Google and YouTube's treatment of our LGBTQ plus community?
They flagged our pride. They did not allow us to buy ads. They restricted us. They demonetized us. And they did not stand up for us.
And they broke their promise of a platform for free speech built off of our backs.
Free speech.
They blatantly discriminate against us. Admit that their algorithm is biased and promise to fix it. They lied.
And still, they claim inclusion and even want to march in our parades.
How dare they?
That is why we, as a group, are suing Google and YouTube.
Hi, we are Bree and Chrissy from YouTube, and this is why we are suing Google and YouTube.
Our LGBTQ plus content is being demonetized, restricted, and not sent out to viewers, which has highly affected our ability to reach the community that we strongly want to help.
Hi, my name is Chase Ross with uppercase Chase 1 on YouTube, and the reason why I'm suing Google and YouTube is because I'm fed up of the discrimination that we're getting in the LGBTQ community. YouTube is supposed to be a safe space for us. I don't feel safe at all. Things need to change. The algorithm needs to change. We need to stand together because we're more powerful in numbers. And honestly, standing here, watching our videos get demonetized, it's disheartening. It hurts, and it needs to end right now.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Amer with Queer Kid Stuff on YouTube. I'm suing Google and YouTube because from day one as an LGBTQ plus creator on YouTube, I've faced discrimination on a platform that touts its support of my community. For years, it's affected my mental health and my livelihood.
It's affected her mental health. She got demonetized. It made her crazy. What the hell, dude? I get demonetized all the time. I don't even know how I got remonetized. After the last time I got demonetized, I just didn't apply again. Then they sent me an email saying, hey, you're monetized. I was like, okay. Anyway, sorry.
I've suffered and I've watched firsthand as my community of creators has suffered. For a long time, I wondered why YouTube allows this to happen. It's simple.
Sorry.
They don't care. They use our important content to feed their bottom line, and they simply just don't care about us. They don't care about the importance of our work. They don't care about our mental health, and they don't care about our livelihood. Only their own profits. It's high time that we call their bluff. It's time they pay for the damage they've done.
Hi, I'm Amp Summers from What's the Safe Word on YouTube, and this is why I'm suing Google. Growing up, I was in a very religious household. I didn't get any sort of gay education, let alone queer education that applied to me and the sex that I was going to have. I create content on the internet that I wish I would have had growing up, but we're finding it harder and harder to create content on this platform. Google and YouTube continue to censor us and tell us that we're not breaking any rules, but that our content is still not allowed and going to be restricted on this platform.
Hi, I'm Salsa Dulé.
And I'm Cameron Steele. We're co-hosts of San Francisco's GlitterbombTV.com.
And we're longtime creators on YouTube.
We are suing Google and YouTube because of blatant discrimination against us as part of the LGBT.
Hi, I'm Cameron Steele. That's really her name? It just, the thing about this couple is, oh my god, they are so clearly reading this from a script. Like, there's just no, a lot of these people are coming off like they wrote this down. And I'm not saying I'd have never, actually, I don't really prepare my stuff. I just kind of, I will re-record it if I think, okay, that was a little too babbly, I need to go back and do that again. But I don't do this. So anyway, I just had to say something. Cameron Steele sounds like the name of like an 80s action hero. Anyway, continuing.
LGBTQ plus community.
And they refused us advertising because of the gay thing.
Together, we are the LGBTQ plaintiffs in a class action lawsuit against Google and YouTube. We are not going to stand by any longer and let our community be dismissed, belittled, and discriminated against. You can help by sharing this video and our message. We're using the hashtags hashtag LGBTQ versus Google YouTube, hashtag don't be evil, hashtag be equal. Or you can join the fight with us.
For more information about our case, or if you'd like to share a similar situation you've experienced, email us at rainbowcoalition@divinogroup.net.
Sorry. So, yeah. What the hell? Yeah, the "Don't be evil" thing is supposed to be the. It was the motto of Google, like when they started. So, oh man, where's the music? Yeah, that's a good point. They didn't have any music. They didn't have any crazy music. All right, so we're gonna look at some of this curriculum, and I guess I'm just gonna try to jump on the grenade here because some of the stuff that is in this curriculum, like it's going to go through different grade levels, and eventually it gets to the idea that somehow our modern ideas about gender are all like colonized, like they all came from Europe and has nothing to do. But yeah, Eric Holmes says transaction starring Cameron Steele. Oh man. All right. So let me go ahead and pull this up and I will look it over with you guys. Oh, nice. Cyanides and Happiness. I was on their forums back in the early 2000s. Okay. Yep. All right. So share screen. All righty. So I'm narrating as I click on things. All right. Here we go. Understanding our bodies. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? Go ahead and reply in the chat that I sound okay before I begin reading this. And yes, there's a choo-choo train not too far away. Control with the purposes. Happy tree friends. Yeah. Yup. Sound is fine, loud and clear. All right, cool. Understanding our bodies. Kindergarten health scientists. Welcome, scientists. Learning about bodies is one way to be a scientist. Our bodies are really neat, and every part is important. Body parts we know. What do we use each of these for? What part of your body that you really love? Sorry. Middle parts. Parts where your swimsuit covers up may be called middle parts. Different people have different middle parts. Yeah, they didn't even take any time. And again, this is the kindergarten part, folks. Your body. Some people call middle parts your private parts, but any part of your body can be private. Private means you only show people you trust and help you stay healthy, like your parents or your doctor. Only you get to decide who touches and looks at your body. Middle parts. Every family thinks about their middle parts in different ways. Just look at the picture we're using here. There's an infant on here. Anyway. Sometimes we feel silly or nervous talking about our middle parts. That is okay. Today we are being scientists to know about our bodies. Wait a second. Why is there a smiley face licking its lips when we're talking about middle parts? Okay. Every person's body is different. Some bodies are kind of like yours. Other bodies are not like yours at all. Apparently they're like wooden blocks. Most bodies have these middle parts: nipples, anus, butt, and a urethra. So this is where I gotta, oh my God. All right, let's see if I can do this and not just, get completely taken off the air. Here we go. Some bodies have these middle parts. Now, once again, folks, this is for kindergartners. Foreskin, penis, scrotum, testicles, urethra opening, anus. Yeah, and if they take this off the air or delete it, I'm just going to say, this was part of a kindergarten curriculum. This was an educational show. A lot of times people with these parts are boys, but any gender and kid can have any type of body. Some bodies have these middle parts: the vulva, the clitoris outside, urethra opening, vagina opening, and anus. A lot of times people with these parts are girls, but any gender kid can have any type of body. So I'm going to pause for a moment and see what you guys thought of that insanity. But yeah, that's in the kindergarten curriculum, folks. Yep. Looking at the stuff here we got here. WTAF. I'm not sure what WTAF is, but holy shit. Yeah. Control of the purpose is like, what the hell, bro? So yeah, by the way, that's at the beginning of every one of these curriculums that I've seen. I've only gotten so far to like the 4th and 5th grade. But anyway, your family. Different families have different rules and ways of thinking about middle parts. Every family is unique. That is awesome. Team body. All of our body parts work together like a team to keep you healthy and to help you do stuff. All of your parts are important. Growing up, your body will change as you get older. Every kid's body changes in different ways. A lot of times, your body and parts get bigger and help you do more things. Time to use our art skills to draw our favorite body parts. Oh, God. This should not be funny because it's actually not. This is actually really disturbing. It's unbelievable. Okay, anyway, kindergarten health unit. This is actually the part that I used just to show, but today we are going to talk about bodies. Parts we have that are the same, parts that we have that are different, including parts that are usually covered when we are in public. It's important that everyone in the body know how their body works and how to take care of it so we can all be healthy. Then it goes back in here, body parts. What do we know? We use these for person with a vulva. Person with a vulva. Person with a penis. Uncircumcised and circumcised. Person with a penis. Have you heard other names for private parts? Some families may use other words besides vulva, penis, and anus. Why is it important to know the correct names for these body parts? Your body is exactly right for you. It's your body, and you have a right to know what the different parts are called. So again, folks, this is kindergarten. This is 5 and 6-year-olds having conversations about each other's penises, whether or not they're circumcised. And person with is it immediately just to jump straight into trans ideology and suggest, that maybe that person is this gender or that gender, and one of the things that I'm going to be doing, it's just I want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row, but I'm going to do a special about John Money specifically, and I'll get into Kinsey because all of this shit, all these ideas about gender ideology and identifying as this and that literally come from these guys who did crazy shit. Like they experimented on two boys, one of which they just told their parents to raise as a girl. I'm sure you guys have already seen that. But it was in What is a Woman? And I delved pretty deep into it and watched some old videos about it, and it's very real. But that science was all disproven a long time ago, which is why the twin boys, Eric Films, which is why I'm like, why are we still doing this? And, at first I was like, okay, well, maybe they're not really doing that, so I went ahead and researched further. And then I found a university website where they just flat out state that the entire gender studies thing is gender ideology stuff is set up because of John Money. So yeah, they're still using his work. I don't get it. But anyway, just looking over the chat. Yeah, this is pretty crazy, guys. Once again, this is kindergarten. Anyway, notes to teachers. This lesson can be split into 2 to 3 parts, depending on your learners. Okay, make sure you use the wording written on the slides. It is very intentional and is gender inclusive for all identities. The slides are text heavy to help teachers with language. This lesson was written by trans people. Why am I not surprised? This lesson is designed for kindergarten through 3rd grade classes and is developmentally appropriate. So the pictures that we just looked at earlier, because apparently 5 and 6-year-olds need to be talking about the quote unquote middle parts of their classmates at 5 and 6 years old. The last slide has a link with a list of amazing books for you to learn more about, this and share with your students. If any of this is new to you, please stay curious and learn more about these topics. So, our names, genders, and pronouns. Hello, my name is lots of underlines, and my pronouns are lots of underlines. Why didn't they just make it a straight line? Anyway, we are going to learn about 3 important words: names, genders, and pronouns. Some kids have heard these words and other kids have not. That's okay, we will learn about them together. Our names. Let's do something silly. Will you cup your hand and whisper your name out loud into it? I will show you how I would do that. Here we go. V-Radio. Okay, I did it. Has anyone ever met somebody who likes to be called by a nickname? Hello, my name is Slim Shady. Sometimes nicknames are really important and people like them more than the names adults gave them. Sometimes kids change their name to match who they are, like their gender, culture, or just what they like better. When someone tells us a name they want to be called, we should use that name for them. That helps them feel safe and respected by us. I really am just done with this misuse of the term safe, because it really just comes down to the fact that, look, I have this really carefully guarded delusion and I want it to be safe. I don't want it to be challenged in any way. So I need you all to just play along. And anyway, gender. Gender is awesome because it's like outer space. What? Okay. Gender is like outer space because there are as many ways to be different genders as there are stars in the sky. Each person is different, and that is cool. So there are as many genders as stars in the sky. Okay, I forgot how many. So we're talking millions. We're not even satisfied with Zer, and other stuff. I'm gonna look at the chat because space is cool. V, come on. And then Roswell says, "This was literally written by Tumblr." Oh my goodness. Slim Shady, such a Michigan answer. Yeah, that's true. He is from here, but all right. So Polar Bear says these groomers need to be put on a wall and shamed till the end of their days. There are more stars than people than ever were. That's true. All right, let's take a look. Gender. Only you can know what your gender is. Even if other people don't understand, you are the only person who knows you the best. There are many genders. Some people are boys. Some people are girls. Some people are non-binary, which means they are not a boy or a girl. They are just a person. Some people are still figuring out their gender. Gender. Any gender can look or act any way they want. Okay. Gender. You cannot tell someone's gender by just looking at them. You can ask them, but not everyone wants to share their gender. Then why did they try to make Gina Carano put her preferred pronouns in her Twitter bio? If we're supposed to respect someone's rights to whether or not they want to express their gender, they freaked the fuck out on her because she wouldn't put her preferred pronouns in her Twitter bio, and they harassed her for months. But anyway, let's watch this neat video about gender. So I went and hunted this down, and now you all can suffer through it with me again, because I love you, and this is tough love. I'm gonna give you that tough love. Hey ladies, I want to give you some tough love. Oh my goodness. And I agree with the Alabaster. This is only going to confuse the crap out of kids this young. So yeah, I found this video. I'm going to have to switch this over. Yes, the queer cut kid stuff is in fact on YouTube, which is what I am about to show you. So let me find it. We are now having technical difficulties. Please stand by. Here we go. All right, folks. Let's watch this cool video about gender.
It's okay.
Oh no, this song. Phew. Okay, here we go.
It's okay to be gay.
Welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Lindsay, and this is my best friend Teddy, and today we're going to talk about gender.
Girl, or somewhere in between. We all are part of one big family. Gaming's happy. Queer kid stuff. You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff.
Lindsay,
Yes, Teddy?
you're a girl, right?
That's right. Why do you ask?
Well, you have short hair and you're wearing a tie. I thought only boys have short hair and wear ties.
You make a really good point, Teddy, but just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I can't wear those things too, or anything else that I want to wear. If they want, girls can have short hair or long hair, or wear tiaras, or bow ties. You can wear whatever you want, no matter if you're a boy or a girl.
But boys can't wear dresses, can they?
Well, why not? You should wear whatever clothes make you feel like the best version of yourself.
Aye, that's right, laddie. So if I want to wear me kilt, you best just be shutting up about it. Yeah, I actually wore a kilt at my wedding. Anyway, sorry.
It's the same for colors and toys too. You can like whatever color or toy that makes you happy.
But Lindsay, I still don't know if I'm a boy or a girl.
Well, Teddy, did you know that some people aren't boys or girls? Some people are boys, some people are girls, and some people are people. There are also people who are trans or transgender. People who are trans do not identify with the gender doctors tell them they are when they are born. But we're going to talk about what it means to be trans in a later episode.
Okay, I think I understand, but all of this is a little confusing. If there are boys and girls and people and all of them can wear ties and dresses, then how can I tell who is what gender?
That's actually really easy, Teddy. All you have to do is ask someone what their pronoun is. A pronoun is the word you use to talk about someone when you don't use their name, like he for boy, she for girl, and some people use they. When you meet someone, just ask them what their pronoun is.
Lindsay, what's your pronoun?
I use she. What's your pronoun, Teddy?
I don't feel like a she or a he, so I guess my pronoun is they.
That's really awesome, Teddy. Okay, so now we want to know your pronoun in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new videos every Wednesday. And if you
So there was a part I forgot to pause on this, but she said, or we could wear a bow tie, and then she clicked her fingers, and then for some reason it didn't work. Apparently her magic can't summon bow ties. So when I was looking at this, there was another video I wanted to play immediately, although this isn't immediately part of that curriculum, but I wanted to watch this transgender one with you guys. Let's have a look.
Welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Lindsay, and this is my best friend Teddy. Today we're talking about the T in LGBT.
Or somewhere in between. We all are part of one big family. Gaming's happy. Queer kid stuff. You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff.
Welcome to the final part of our 4-part series breaking down the letters in LGBT. You ready, Teddy?
Ready.
Okay. Today we are talking about the 4th letter, T. T stands for trans or transgender.
Ooh, that's a cool new word.
Definitely, Teddy. Let's get into it. Do you have any siblings, Teddy?
Yes, I have a little baby bear brother.
And I have a little sister. Do you remember when your little baby bear brother was born?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember the very first thing you learned about the new baby bear in your life?
That he cried a lot?
No, Teddy. You probably learned that your little baby bear brother
was your little baby bear brother, that your new sibling was a boy.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely it.
That's the very first thing doctors tell you when a new baby is born, whether they're human or bear. They tell parents that their baby is a boy or a girl. That's called a gender assignment, when doctors announce that babies are boys and girls.
But now I'm confused. When we talked about gender, we said that there aren't just boys and girls.
Of course you're confused, because this is confusing as fuck. A gender assignment. It's like, as soon as they say that, I don't know, especially since I'm watching stuff with school, it's like it conjures up images of like like one of those like dittoed worksheets or whatever that they would get you. If you guys remember that, like it'd be like purple print, I guess. Anyway, sorry, nostalgia.
You have a really great memory, Teddy. You're right. There's something a bit weird about how doctors assign gender to babies. That's because there aren't only boys and girls, and because not all people identify with their assigned gender.
Oh, so the doctors are wrong sometimes?
Yes, Teddy. Sometimes doctors don't assign the right genders. When
Sometimes doctors are wrong, like when they tell parents that since one of their son's penises was destroyed by the process that was supposed to give them a circumcision, you should raise that child as a girl and simply never tell them that they were born a boy. Sometimes doctors are wrong. So rather than address the fact that that doctor was wrong, we're going to parrot his fucking evil bullshit into the minds of kindergartners. Square that.
a person does not identify with the gender they're assigned when they're born, they are trans or transgender. People who are trans can be boys or girls or people too.
And I can always ask someone their pronoun, just like you taught me.
That's right, Teddy. There's also another word you should know. It's the word cisgender. Someone who is cisgender does identify with the gender they're assigned.
Okay, so since you were assigned girl and you use she, then you are cisgender.
That is exactly right, Teddy.
Lindsay, I'm really good at this gender stuff now.
Okay, so now we want to know how you identify. You can let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching season 1 of Queer Kid Stuff. We really appreciate you watching, and we hope you enjoyed learning about everything LGBT, gay, feminist, all of those fun things we've been talking about. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for updates about season 2.
Oh, God. So this stuffed bear doesn't know what gender it is yet. I guess it's decided it's non-binary now. Oh, okay. So I'm going to put up a poll right now because I want to know what your pronouns are. Ready? Here we go. Here we go, guys. I'm typing it out. He, see. Wait, no, we'll do it like this. He, him, she, her, they, them. Here we go, guys. Join in this activity so that we can know what it's like to be a kindergartner undergoing this nonsense. Oh my goodness, bro. Let's see what comes up with there. Identifies Apache helicopter with a peanut allergy. Wait a minute. Apache helicopters can't get peanut allergies. I'm watching this poll blow up, guys. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I see a lot of people identify the same way as me, which is none yo business. I was on a panel once and they were like, "What are your pronouns, V?" I was like, "Whatever. I don't care. I'm a Guy Fawkes mask." So anyway, I guess there are some they thems. And I want to be clear, guys. I have non-binary people who tell me they watch this show. I'm not making fun of you people for having unusual, identifiers. I don't care about this stuff. I'm a libertarian. I'll defend your right in this issue anyway. I'll defend your right to say, whatever the hell you want, as long as you're not trying to bring it on, force it on kids. But most of the people I know in the LGBTQ community think that this stuff is crazy, which is why you should follow Gays Against Groomers on Twitter. Who's already been censored once. All right, so far, guys, the most people here identify as Nunya business. There's 6% they thems, 19% she hers, and 31% he hims. And that's how you get peanut butter, apparently. Oh my goodness. I am a meat popsicle. Negative. I am a meat popsicle. All right. So anyway, now that and somebody asked how this stuff is in the same algorithm as Cocomelon, and some of these other things. Yeah, that is kind of disturbing, guys. This stuff just shows right up there. So anyway, I could probably do an entire stream just watching this crap. But again, kindergartners, folks. Kindergartners. So let's get back to the curriculum. I'll go ahead and pull it up here. Oh my God. Yeah, I did. And that's freaking BS. Like, seriously. Of course, they only haven't done that to me yet because they haven't figured out who I am. But please be no more videos. I don't think there's any videos that I didn't have any other ones lined up, so you're good. I'll put up from now on, TT, I'll put up a trigger warning. Trigger warning. What you're about to see may make you want to shoot yourself in the head with a Nerf gun. All right. Anyway. Tower of Power cooler talk. Wasn't QKS featured on YouTube Kids? I don't know. That's a good question. I hadn't really looked very heavily at that yet, but serious question. Can a person be trans without knowing? If biology has nothing to do with gender, then how can I know that I am what I am? I don't. Okay, so there was one person who kind of explained it, and when you look at what creates somebody who's gay in the first place, there's definitely a chemistry involved. I do not subscribe in any way to the theory that people choose it. I can't choose to be gay. I mean, my roommate's pretty awesome, but I'm totally hetero. Man, it would be so much more convenient if my roommate, if I was attracted to him, but it doesn't work like that. And that's why you can't go after people just for that. The issue is that what has to happen, though, is that if somebody has an uncontrollable attraction and an urge that actually makes them dangerous to people around them, then society has to do something about it. And anyway, that conversation that we just watched, again, you have to remember the context here, folks. This is all stuff that they consider for kindergarten through third grade. And you got to ask yourself if this is something you would want other people having conversations with your kids about. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I've been getting these scam calls lately from people from India who want me to sign up for something that's supposed to get me government money. I'm like, yeah, thank you, people from India, calling me that stuff up, like, to do that. So, oh my goodness. Deuce, it is my intention to leave it up, provided it stays up. I don't know what's going to happen to this segment because there's some stuff that's in this curriculum that shouldn't just be on video. Like, I mean, it's crazy, but anyway, so let me pull this back up so we can get back on track here. There's probably going to have to be multiple parts of this because there's a lot to go over here. But remember, folks, we're being told that nobody's trying to do this. We're being told that this isn't happening, and just like we're also being told that none of these people ever seem to turn out to be pedophiles, which is obvious nonsense. So let me go ahead and pull up my share screen again. We'll go back to looking at this curriculum now that we've survived that video. Like, I hope you survived. Everybody still alive? Let me know in the chat. All right. So we watched this neat video about gender. That is a terrible wig. Anyway, when kids are born, people call you a gender. Cisgender people, people whose gender is the same as what doctors and adults said they were when they were born, based on body parts and shapes. Cis people can be girls or boys. But sometimes that isn't true, with an exclamation point, because we can't ask babies what their gender is since they can't talk. Transgender people, people whose gender is different than who doctors and adults thought they were at birth. Trans people can be girls, boys, non-binary people, or any other gender. Don't forget, there's as many of them as there are stars. Gender. Any gender can have any body. It's not respectful to ask people about their bodies unless they want to share with you. Wait a second, guys. So weren't we told earlier that we're supposed to ask people what their pronouns are? I don't know. I guess that's not necessarily a contradiction, but this just sounds like a recipe for disaster. Expressing yourself. Everybody and every person can show and express who they are to the world in different ways, like their haircut, clothes, and makeup. Every person expresses themselves differently. Expressing yourself. How do you like to express yourself? What do you like to wear? What do you like to do with your hair? Space slider for suggested lesson split. Activities in between lesson sets. Click link to student page. Kindergarten, my cool name. And first and second, I love me. Yeah, I love me too. Our names, genders, and pronouns. Part 2. Hello, my name is, and my pronouns are. Yeah, we went over that earlier. We started learning about names and gender. Today we will start learning about pronouns. Pronouns are words that we use instead of saying someone's name. For example, instead of saying lots of underlines is my teacher, you could say lots of underlines are my teacher. What? Is are my teacher? You could say, okay, never mind. Let's watch this video. Unfortunately, I couldn't find this one. Maybe it's better that I didn't, because I think some of my audience will kill themselves. Pronouns. You can use she, her, like she likes cats. He, him, like he is really good at cooking. They, them, they are outside on the playground. Z, zer, where are Z? Or make up your own. Like, that's a thing. You can just make up pronouns whenever you want and then just expect society to go along with it. God, I hope you don't get misgendered if you make up your own pronouns. But this confirms, according to this curriculum, we can make up our own pronouns. So I want everybody in the chat to go along with this. Everybody make up your own pronoun right now as we speak. This is an interactive show. Hey, Harley, I'm confused. Is Boy George a boy? Inyame says, I didn't make it through the whole thing. By the way, the doctor does not assign genders. God does, Miriam Castro says. What's going on? I'm not seeing any pronouns, class. You need to get to work on this. My pronouns are erp ekabits. Okay. Well, since the class has taken Joe Mama, that's a good pronoun. I like that sock on. Master Lord. 1. I'm non-binary. 1-0. My pronoun will be flump. I'm still reading them. I identify as one who actually put in my 8 hours at work today. Digitalize says D's nuts, derp and wobble. Maybe I'll just put some of these up here so we can all share in the experience together. Derp and wobble. Let me see. My pronoun will be flump. D's nuts. What ain't made up enough for you? Peter Stroker. Dude, your car is looking at me, bro. It's like, hey, what's up? Your car's got a creepy stare. I'm telling you, man. Okay, anyway, let's get back to this insanity. A lot of boys use he, him pronouns, and a lot of girls use she, her pronouns. A lot of non-binary people use they, them pronouns, but anyone can use pronouns. Pronouns, guess what? You can use more than one set of pronouns. So you can like to be called she, her, and they, them, or any other combination. Only you get to decide your own pronouns. There again, ones you make up. They literally just telling kids to make up their own pronouns. And this is kindergartners. Pronouns. The only way to know someone's pronouns is to ask them. For example, hi, my name is Mooney, and my pronouns are he, him. What are your names for pronouns? If you don't know someone's pronoun, you can use they, them pronouns since that can be any gender. This also sounds like something that's not going to go well. Let's listen to this read aloud about pronouns. Yeah, again, I couldn't find that one. Respect. Our class cares about respect. Using people's names and pronouns shows them that we care about them. Sometimes we forget about pronouns and names. We can say, oops, I forgot, and try again with the correct pronouns or name. Let's practice our pronouns. My name is lots of underlines, and my pronouns are lots of underlines. What are your names of pronouns? I guess Zer is still figuring it out, or maybe that's a separate category. I don't think that's aerodynamically sound. This is not teaching kids good science. Yeah, I don't think that design's going to work. Anyway, remember, we are all awesome being exactly who we are. Us being different is why the world is an interesting place. Book resources for teachers about gender diversity. Julian is a mermaid. Oh boy. Yeah, I got to do an episode about the mermaid thing at some point. Gender roles. Learning targets. I can explain what gender is. I can share 2 or more ideas of what to say to a friend who feels like they can't do or try something because of their gender. True or false? Girls are better at baking than boys. Boys are better at sports than girls. Boys cannot wear pink, only girls can. Only men can be firefighters. It is okay for women to show their feelings and cry, but not for men. Now, this is one thing I have to say, like, I'm not super big on gender roles. Like, I didn't make my daughter do any certain things. I mean, so as a consequence of that, she became a boxer and a wrestler, but she's not butch by any means. But I don't know. Part of it has to do with me is maybe it's because I kind of studied a bit about like Celtic mythology when I was younger because I'm Irish, but I don't think we need to list like being good at defending yourself or participating in battles as something that is gender specific. Yes, men are going to be better at a lot of aspects of that, but that doesn't mean that women shouldn't also have the ability to look at the ability to defend themselves when they're called to it. Even in patriarchal society like the samurai, taught their women how to do that. But anyway, when it comes to sports, it just comes down to the fact, obviously there's biological differences, so girls should get their own. Not because they're inferior, but because they're different. That's another thing that I've kind of tended to look at a lot more. For example, if we can't find something in the house, my daughter's usually pretty good at it. And then come to find out that the scientists believe that due to probably the hunter-gatherer aspect of things, women may actually be better at doing that. So that's why I said I don't get into like, inferior or superior. It's like they have certain roles, and depending on what species, that could change, but for humans, I'm not big on forcing certain things, but it tends to happen on its own. I mean, my daughter's still a girl. I didn't make her be a girl. She chose to be a girl, quote unquote, was born a girl. I let her pursue other things, but she still likes pink and unicorns. Anyway, it is okay for women to show their feelings and cry, but not for men. Watch with a focus. What does this video show us about who can be a firefighter, surgeon, and a pilot? So, let me go back to the chat real quick. Let's make sure there isn't anything interesting going on. Digital Odyssey says, gender roles are mostly grounded in biological differences, but obviously it doesn't apply in every case. These general statements are based on, and averages. Right. And that's why I feel like, if a woman can do all the jobs of being a firefighter, go for it. It's, if you can do it, then do it. But, if it's going to be a situation where you doing that job is going to put other people's life in jeopardy, well, that's a problem. But the same is true of men. If you're some reason, unfortunately, one of those men who's not, very physically gifted and is for some reason weighing 100 pounds as an adult, maybe trying to drag people and pull them out of fires is not for you, but in any case. Chris Dreyer says they are obscuring the subject with social constructs when it is based on biology. Well, get women to find lost stuff. Yeah. One of the reasons Neanderthals died out is because their women were as strong as their men and participated in hunting and fighting. Sapiens keeping their women at home meant more surviving mothers. Interesting. Do me a favor, Ross, and send me a link on that. I'd like to check that out. And I want to be clear, what I'm getting at is not to suggest that this means that women should be jumping to the front line, but I don't think that learning how to defend yourself should in any way be gender specific. Like my daughter knows how to defend herself, and the fact that I made sure that she knew how to defend herself has helped her on more than one occasion throughout her life. So just something to think about. The standard for applying for dangerous jobs should not be lower because of women, like soldiers, police. Yes, exactly. That's how I feel about it too. What I'm getting at is that the access to, say martial arts training, firearms training, absolutely shouldn't be limited. Obviously, you know, um, stuff like that. In fact, I think if I were you, I've already talked to my daughter about learning how to use firearms, and she obviously physically knows how to defend herself, although she's got a lot of sicknesses right now. People will deny the gender is connected to biology, but if you keep questioning them, eventually it will come back to biology. Right. And then they just kind of want us all to pretend, you know. It wasn't on a paper, it was a lecture I attended at college 15-ish years ago. All right, Ross, well, do me a favor and if you could share even just a reminder, I guess I'll go research it myself because I'm really interested in that. The Alabaster says, I'm a sports therapist. There is a distinct difference in how you train women versus men, let alone how they perform in various sports. That is absolutely true. And as somebody who coached his daughter to a national championship in the sport of wrestling, which is often a sport that is forced to be co-ed, these people that are still suggesting that we just need weight classes clearly have their heads somewhere where they need a proctologist and a chiropractor to get them out of. So anyway, let's go back to this painful curriculum. Gender is something that adults came up with to sort people into groups. Many people think that there are only two genders, girls and boys. But this is not true. There are many ways to be a boy, a girl, both, or neither. Gender identity is about how you feel about yourself inside. Sometimes people say that certain activities are only for girls or boys, like painting fingernails is only for girls and playing football is only for boys. That is not right. You can do many things as long as you are being safe. This is interesting because this is really kind of the point, isn't it? I mean, if you're being safe, because for women to play contact sports with men in many cases is not safe. That's actually why they made girls wrestling boys illegal in the state of Texas. Fortunately enough, the state of Texas has such high participation, it didn't cause any problems for girls. But they, eventually you do get into a situation, particularly the bigger the girl gets, to where they just start to get hurt. It's that simple. What can you say to a friend who feels like they can't or try to do something because of their gender? And then I come back to this again. I'm like, if the girl can do the thing, let them do the thing. But if they can't do the thing, don't make everybody pretend that they can do the thing. It's not good for them. It's not good for anyone else. This is actually one of the biggest problems that I have as somebody who raised a real strong female, whose mom was a real strong female, who spent a whole bunch of time around female MMA fighters, female boxers, female CrossFitters. None of those people act like this. I did a whole video about this called Strong Women, Who Are They? If you haven't checked it out, you should. It's in my list. It's probably one of the best videos I ever did. That's actually the one that got Adam Friended to invite me on his show because he liked my content. But it just comes down to the fact that we're trying to project this image that girls can do everything men can do. And then we write stories where you have things like the current version of Galadriel, you have Rey Skywalker and all that. And yeah, so my daughter, to become the first starter who was a girl in our middle school wrestling program's history, busted her ass to win that spot. It doesn't just get handed to you. There's no magical CGI fight scenes where you can, Black Widow flip a man 5 times your size. You've got to put in a lot of work, but that is not the story that is being told to these girls. And it's going to cause them a big problem for them, when they try to step into this realm. Your friend Dong, that's unfortunate, wants to join ballet class, but he's worried that other kids will tease him. Okay. Understanding our bodies. Now we've moved on to second grade health scientists. So before I go further, I'm going to take a look again at the chat. Yeah. I was like, oh, this should not be funny. I should not be laughing. But I mean, they picked that name. They know that's going to be a problem. Dong. Jeff Goldblum's chaos. Oh my goodness. For most sports, I think it's okay for women to compete against men. They have no biological advantage, but men competing against women is unfair. Generally, not all forms of sports, of course. It just depends on the situation. The reason why they don't let girls box with boys is because of differences in the cranium and the brains. Female brains, like there's something about the neurons, and they still haven't gotten to the bottom of this, but when they get concussions, the likelihood of them being far more severe is there, and they are like 5 times more likely to get concussions, which is one of the reasons why this whole thing is ridiculous. And I get into the concussion argument with people all the time about trans athletes and sports, and of course they just don't want to talk about it because it's not convenient. Anyway, you've got to do the work. Long duck. Oh, if adults are laughing at it this much, how will 5-year-olds or teenagers? Yep, you're absolutely right, Ross. Absolutely right. All right, so moving on to understanding our bodies. 2nd grade health scientists. Welcome, scientists. So some of this stuff is just kind of repetitive, but once again, here we are talking about middle parts. And so they use pretty much the same thing. We go once again into these extremely graphic images of people's bodies that apparently now 2nd graders need to be able to look at. All penises are different shapes and sizes, and all vulvas are different shapes and sizes. All bodies are different. You are the only person who gets to decide who touches your body. I mean, well, I agree with that. How much of the time all of your middle parts are covered with your clothes? Most of the time. Your body is yours, and you are the boss of it. So, scrolling past, time to practice labeling our body parts with glue and scissors. Never mind. Oh my God, there it is again. Gender identity and gender expression, the infinite gender spectrum, 4th and 5th grade. I think this is when we start talking about colonization. When you hear the word gender, what do you think of? Share with a partner, and then we'll share out with the class. Our learning plan, of course, begins with colonization. Assign sex, gender, and gender expression, gender roles and stereotypes, gendered language. Gender is a universe with definitions of many genders, and then closing. God, please close. Gender is colonized. Colonization is taking over, controlling, and erasing the places, cultures, and identities of indigenous people who were already living there. When white European people colonized different places, they brought their own ideas about gender and sexuality. When the United States was colonized by white settlers, their views about gender were forced upon the people already living here. Hundreds of years later, how we think and talk about gender are still impacted by this shift. Different cultures use different words because language is created by people and changes over time. Language is often about power. Gender is colonized. Gender and sexuality diversity have existed since people have been on Earth. The different words that people use to describe themselves have changed over time. White colonizers tried to erase many cultures, including what some might now call queer or trans people. But these cultures already had words for cultures, including in ways of thinking about gender and sexuality. This lesson includes words that are products of colonization. Other cultures around the world, especially Black, Indigenous, and Brown cultures and people, view gender in different ways and use different words. So there was a missed opportunity when they did What is a Woman? And I'm going to play this clip for you because I'm actually kind of surprised that Walsh and Shapiro didn't seize on this, because this claim, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a video of this like snotty kid who went up to say, well, I'm a physicist, and what was the other thing? A physicist and a mathematician, and therefore, Ben Shapiro, I am qualified to argue with you about biology. And he said that it was white, like gender roles or whatever. So there was this moment in What is a Woman? And hopefully I'm going to pull this off of, specifically off of Facebook, I think is where it's going to come. Well, no, there's a YouTube version. Hopefully it'll be fine. Oh, wait, no, it's the transgenderism one I need anyway. So we're going to just go ahead and pull that up. You're listening to V Radio. Thank you for checking this out. Please go to hy.page/V Radio. There you will find my other social media and your ability to support this stream if you would like in financial means. By the way, super chats are enabled. Note. All right. So let's go ahead and pull this up. All right. Here we go. I want to restart it, but you got
identity is.
So remember, guys.
What if a man?
So they're suggesting that it was white colonizers who brought our ideas over here about what gender roles are and what all of this is. So let's take a look at some of what this primitive African culture had to say about it.
What if a man decides that his gender identity is woman?
A woman has its own duty, and a man has its own duty, and a lady cannot do the duty of a man, and a man cannot do a duty of a woman.
Can a man become a woman?
No.
No?
No.
What about a transgender? Transgender?
No.
No?
It will look like if you want to become a lady but you're a man, you have something wrong in your mind. Something wrong in your family, something wrong in you.
What about if someone was non-binary?
Come again?
Non-binary? You know, like non. Like someone is.
You're not a woman. You're not a man.
Yeah, someone is neither. There's something else. Is that?
He's saying we have never seen things like those. For a man, he has a penis. For a woman, he has a vagina. So we know this is a lady, this is a man.
What if it's a woman with a? What if it's a woman with a penis?
Both.
Is that? People are laughing. Is that a dumb question?
So that's a obviously colonized white culture, right? Let's see if they this might be a different clip. Let's see if it's different.
It's that his gender identity.
Oh no, that's the same one. Yeah, there was another one where they just talked to them about, you know, what roles are male and what roles are female. So anyway, I'm really surprised that he didn't seize on that himself, because that is a really, really, really telling point, to suggest that they're looking at this like, what the hell's the matter with you? Like, so that's what it is. It must be that this African tribe has just been seriously colonized or something, explain that one to me, I guess. But, and I lost my original version of our curriculum. I'll have to fast forward back to it, but I'll just talk to it. I'm going to talk to you guys about it. Yeah, I'll talk to the curriculum. Hey, curriculum, what's up? I don't understand why they didn't, nail that down, because that is definitely an example of the fact that there are plenty of cultures that are not American colonized cultures that already had these ideas. So they're just lying. It's more just revisionist history. I'm going to be doing a video specifically about that too, because I find African culture really interesting. I have ever since I was younger. When I was a teenager, me and the family watched the Shaka Zulu series together, like as a family, and it was really interesting. It was also very brutal. With all this talk that's going on right now about, like, for example, race swapping Ariel, the mermaid, and stuff like that, we're going to talk about some of it. But one of the things I keep saying is, like, why don't you guys do stories about African stuff? I think African stuff is cool. I'd watch it. And I think that as they just recently did a film about a group of Amazon, like, African women who were brutally defending their right to slavery. I guess what it comes down to is that the reason they don't really want to focus too much on that is because they know it's not going to go well for where they're trying to take the narrative, So that's kind of off topic, but, it allowed me to distract you for a moment while I went back because I accidentally closed the place where we were at. So I'm going to take it back there now, but I'm going to look in the chat. Thank you once again, Super Chat. Yay! Super chat from Sawcon. The guilt trip is real. That's right, you guys. Super chat me, baby. Hey, can you drop me a super chat? I'll talk to you in my velvet voice. The V in radio for V radio stands for velvet. Anyway, thanks for the super chat. Oh my goodness. I've spoken to people who would argue that they are colonized, otherwise they wouldn't believe that. I know. It's simple. You don't have a specific name for biological differences. You pretend these differences just don't exist, right? As you pointed out, yeah, very Eurocentric. That's like Native Africans, because don't forget, it's the indigenous people that were forced to have these roles. And when you go on to watch the rest of that film, What is a Woman? Like, they talk to the women, and the women say, well, women, bear children, and we do certain things for the tribe, and then men, it's their job to take care of us. That to be a man, you have to take care of your family was legit what they say, specifically. You should do an entire stream in that voice. Yeah, I don't know. The girls do say I have a pretty sexy voice. Did I accidentally turn on B Radio's OnlyFans audio? No, you'd have to give me more super chats if I was going to do that. But anyway, I'm just teasing you guys. Anyway, the V Radio Asthma stream. Today we're discussing the Bob Voss of activist journalism. We're going to talk about some happy little LGBTQ curriculums. That's right. That voice better not have awakened something in me. Yeah, that's what it is. I brought you guys in here to turn you all gay, like the frogs. My daughter talks about that all the time. Alex Jones is kind of right about the frogs being gay. Oh my goodness. Anyway, now that I got this roughly where we were, I'm going to go back to sharing it, and we can suffer through some more of this. Share screen. So again, guys, one of the reasons I'm doing this is because, don't forget, they're denying that any of this is going on. They're saying that nobody's doing this, that this isn't real. This is a right-wing talking point. Get off Tucker Carlson. This isn't real. Nobody's trying to do this. So anyway, gender is colonized. Well, I just showed why that was horse shit. So other cultures around the world, especially Black, Indigenous, and Brown, view gender in different ways. So we just watched some Black people very distinctly explain that the notion of a transgender is ridiculous, that a man can't be a woman and a woman can't be a man. So it's not like it's some white patriarchal thing. But remember, all bad things have to be labeled as whiteness, so they can't in any way go into this. And I'm sure it's the brown Arabic people that are literally throwing gay people off of buildings, that must have been colonized too, right? Anyway, assigned sex, gender, and gender expression. Assigned sex is labels like male, female, and intersex that doctors and adults use to sort babies into gender categories. These labels are based on the middle body parts, aka genitals, and their shapes and sizes. People who are intersex do not have the assumed binary internal or interal and or external body parts, chromosomes or hormone levels that are usually matched up to be called male or female. Even though some people say gender is different than assigned sex, oftentimes the words male is used to mean boys, men, and the word female is used to mean girls, women. This makes things confusing. Yeah, it's pretty confusing, all right, because that is mushing assigned sex and gender together. Bodies don't have genders, only people do, and any gender can have any body. Assigned sex, gender, and gender expression. Assigned sex is a spectrum. There are many sexes and many variations within the different sexes. You see, now we're not just going to suggest that it's gender, because they tried to use the word gender because you could try to play with the meaning of it, but now they're saying there are many different sexes. Biology has been telling us that there are only two sexes forever, other than asexual, so they could divide. Is that what non-binary do? Non-binary people do? They divide in half, I guess. I don't know. Sex is not binary because there are more than two sexes. See, this is it. They're just openly saying that there are more than two sexes. They're not even saying it's just more than two genders. Also, people made up what assigned sex means, and it changes over time. Calling sex biological erases that it is a social construct, meaning that people made it up. But they didn't. There are male and female examples all throughout history, all throughout nature. This isn't something that people just made up. It's an observable phenomenon. And I don't care what people identify as or how they want to project themselves or what they want to dress in, as long as they're not hurting anyone else. But this is just a lie. This doesn't belong in any curriculum. To call it biological erases that is a social construct, because there's a difference between gender roles. Gender roles are a social construct, but your existence as a being is not a construct. So this is not science. This is not scientifically sound. Lots of different sexes, bodies, chromosomes, hormone levels, and secondary or secondar, is that a word? Sex characteristics. Now we come to gender identity, which is, once again, as universities admitted, came from John Money, the guy who lied to everyone and said that his experiment of raising a boy as a girl worked, and it didn't. Both the boy that was raised as a girl and their brother killed themselves. Anyway, gender identity is who you are. There are many parts of who you are. This part is about words like boy, girl, non-binary, and more. You cannot see gender because any gender can look any way. Any gender can use any pronoun. When we get to the universe slide, we will learn all about gender identity. Assign sex, gender identity, and gender expression. Gender expression is how you show the world your gender and express yourself. Gender expression is a spectrum, and expression does not tell us someone's gender identity. We express ourselves outwardly to the world through things like hair, how we talk, makeup, clothes, hobbies, etc. Some people use the terms masculine and androgynous andro and feminine femme to describe gender expression. A stereotype is when someone thinks all people of one group act a certain way or are all mostly the same, like when you're talking about white people. There are a lot of stereotypes about gender. People think that boys and girls can only look and like and act a certain way. Sometimes people also have stereotypes about gender diverse people, but any gender can act or look any way they want, and they are all still valid. This is getting a little dangerous. Check out this video. I probably could have found that one, but about non-binary and gender non-conforming person and kids talking about gender and gender expression. Hairstyles, mannerisms, activities, love, nail polish. This is all parts of like gender expression. Looking different in different places or with different people. How you move, accessories like necklaces or watches, makeup and more, clothes you wear, ties and bandanas, how you talk. Language is gendered. Gendered words, girls and boys. Gender neutral examples. Learners, mathematician, people, kids, thinkers, everybody, y'all is not good grammar. Y'all is oh my goodness. Team, folks. So we're just taking words that are literally just lazy, like phone language. And okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcomed guests, folks, parents, family, guardians, your adults or siblings, or your mom and dad and family unit. L or L, replace it with E or X, Latin X. Anyway, Mr., Miss, use first name, use mix. What? Anyway, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, them friend? That's a new one. Never heard about that. Them friend. If you have a friend or classmate who is gender diverse, make sure to ask them which words you can call them. When in doubt, stick to gender neutral. You do not, in all capital letters, have to understand everything about all genders in order to respect a person and their gender. All of us have many identities that are unique. Stay curious and learn how to affirm all genders, even if you don't understand someone else's gender. Gender is a universe. Here are some genders. Click on each one to learn what it means. Cisgender, a person whose gender is the same as the gender that was assigned to them at birth, boys and girls. Then we have intersex, transgender, a person whose gender is different than the gender that was assigned to them at birth based on assumptions about body parts and shape. This can include non-binary people, since no one is called non-binary at birth. Well, yeah. Gender non-conforming. Only some trans people have gender dysphoria. So then what is it if they don't have gender dysphoria? Huh? What does that even mean? Okay. Anyway, gender fluid. By the way, if somebody could do me a favor, I want you to take a bottle of transmission fluid, literally transmission fluid, and I want you to change it to gender fluid. I want to use it in my memes. So anyway, let's go back to the chat, see what everybody's saying. What's next? Please no. Again, what the fuck? What kid would read all this? I'm sorry, V. This is infuriating, and I can't keep getting the list. Commie gobbledygook. I'm sorry, Ross. Well, I mean, don't leave, man. You got to suffer through this with me. But the whole point is that you need to be aware of the fact that this is real, that it's happening. And when people lie and say that it's not happening, be sure to show them this. The building is colonized or the gay people. Behold the modified bimodal normal curve. Yep. All right. Oh, I shouldn't leave that up. No, I shouldn't. There. All right. So, people used to think that being transgender means your gender, or you gender, is who you are. Okay. And this is on a you gender. Okay. So this is on literally a educational flyer, and they don't. Okay, grammar is optional. Anyway, is you who you are, and your sex is what your body is, and being trans means your gender is different than your body assigned. However, bodies don't have genders, and not all trans people choose to change their bodies. Okay, return to gender universe slide. I guess that's this one. Transgender, a person whose gender is different than the gender that was assigned. Cisgender, we'd already been over that. Okay, gender dysphoria and misgendering. Gender dysphoria is when a person's body does not match those they are at their gender. This is a very real thing that causes a lot of anxiety, pain, and harm. Not all trans and non-binary people have gender dysphoria. Some gender diverse people choose to change their bodies, while other folks, this is not a word, do not. If a kid is still figuring out their gender and needs time to figure out what body parts, shapes, and expressions they want, like fucking Mr. Potato Head? What? What body parts? Okay, they can take hormonal blockers that pause puberty. This is a lie. And give them time to figure out who they are. When you are older, you can change your body through hormones and or surgeries with parent permission, or after you were 18 years old. Well, at least they put that in there, parent permission. If a person doesn't have gender dysphoria, then their body does match their gender, no matter what their body is. To be trans is to be misgendered at birth. It does not require you to not match your body. Some trans people are okay with using terms male and female to talk about their body, but some trans people call their bodies their gender, no matter what body parts they do not or do not have. For example, non-binary bodies exist in many shapes and forms. Definitions of non-binary and genderqueer. Non-binary, a person whose gender is outside the binary of boy and girl, and whose gender is somewhat or gender somewhere on or outside the gender spectrum. They can be a combination of binary genders or an entirely new gender, or anywhere on the spectrum of gender. Non-binary people can have any body. Another word similar to non-binary is genderqueer. Genderqueer people can be anywhere on the gender spectrum, and queer, the concept of gender binaries and expectations. So they can be a combination of binary genders or an entirely new gender. So apparently, like, what are new genders? Just like, it's like mutant powers in the X-Men or something. They just come about. Okay. Gender is about who we and our bodies are part of who we are, which is why some, this is not a word, change their body, and other, this is not a word. That means that bodies can be non-binary and genderqueer if that person feels good in their body. What? Some people assume that non-binary and genderqueer people have to only use they, them pronouns, but any gender can use any pronouns. Okay, so any gender can use any pronouns. You can make up a gender anytime you want. New genders could just be emerging somehow, or is that identities? This is a fucking mess. Like, these are not rules. This is shit that they make up as they go. And then they're going to try to teach kids this. And they're going to go, what? And the reason that these things are almost always so vague is because they want to be able to turn them on you at any moment. If you accidentally misgender somebody or whatever, it's just, anyway. So I'm not going to go much further on this stream today. I do want to talk to you guys in the chat a little bit more before I quit, but we will come back to this. This is a pretty long document, so we'll see if I can get all the way to the end of it. I was mostly worried about exposing two major things. One was the bullshit notion that this is a colonized thing, that apparently people of color, especially people of color, as they put it, have their own views about gender. As if all white people are the same in this regard. I don't know, because the reality is, for example, among the Celts, women were allowed to be warriors. So it's just not true. There was different attitudes about gender in different white cultures as well. But because they have to demonize white people at every turn, that's why they go in that direction. Everything is about colonization, and all bad things in the universe that have ever happened were all done by white people. So let me interact with the chat, and then we will be done for today. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. 93 minutes of this. I can only do so much of this at one time. It's giving me a headache, but again, this is me looking at their materials. This is not Fox News. I didn't, take this with like Mark Ruffalo or whatever. It wasn't Mark Ruffalo. Some other dude like got his hands on this stuff and he brought it up forward. He was a right-leaning guy. I just wanted to read the stuff myself. I like this one. Uncomfortable in your body is near the exact definition of adolescence. And then it's a free-for-all. Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to listen to that song now. There are too many contradictions to count. Yeah, I agree. Folks was not ungendered enough, I guess. I don't know. But I know FOLX is not a fucking word. So what is gender dysphoria then? Yeah, I would agree. It doesn't make any sense. So not all trans people have gender dysphoria. So then what the fuck is the problem? Oh my God. This reminds me of a classic V radio clip that I'll probably show before we're done where, oh God, I feel terrible for forgetting the name of the video, but basically, a YouTube streamer was dealing with the crazy Antifa at the Wii Spa, and I got a clip of this girl claiming that she was three things that you can't even be all there at the same time. Yes, it was in Celt society, women could be warriors, but they were still women. This is the same for many other cultures. Right, exactly. My point is that they're suggesting that apparently all white cultures were patriarchal, and that apparently the concept of patriarchy itself is imported via colonization. Like, it didn't happen on its own, like as if only white cultures did that. So far from this section, we are confusing the heck out of Burns and pushing racism is what I got so far. Yeah, that's basically it, man. This section is pretty fucked up, and that's why I wanted to get into this notion that gender is colonized, because they're acting like, just like everything else, everything that they consider to be evil in this world is literally a construct according to like something that white people made up, as if this wasn't going on anywhere else, in any other circumstances. It's just stupid. It's not accurate to reality, at all. So let me find this video. 1 second. While I'm talking to you guys. And don't forget, folks, to check out hy.page/vradio. There you can find my social media accounts, so you can always be aware of when I go live. Oh my goodness. Oh, I found it. Here it is. This is an old video I did back in 2021. The clip got to me, thankfully, due to the work of Mary Todd. You you haven't checked out Mary Todd's channel, if you ever really want to know the truth about Antifa, I strongly suggest you check out Mary Todd, who does some extremely deep dives, into this. So let me go ahead and play this quick video from the Wii Spa confrontation. Turn this off for now. We now pause for station identification. You are listening to V Radio. So here's one of my old videos taken from the Wii Spa. Hello, everybody. This is just going to be a quick update on the situation at the Wii Spa. I finally got to watch a video that has some of the argument, I guess, that Antifa thinks they're making in this situation. I'm going to share that video with you now, and I'm not sure necessarily that this makes me less confused. You be the judge.
I'm not attacking you. I'm not hurting you. I'm asking you a question. Are you here because you believe in trans rights and women's rights? Not anything else. Those two specific things. It's a yes or no.
Because I believe
Yes or no question.
Honey, you're not here for the right reasons.
I don't.
Fuck you. Have dignity, respect. I think that men have the right to
As a female, I identify as both female and trans, and I'm non-binary.
Wait, what did she just say?
As a female, I identify as both female and trans, and I'm non-binary.
How the hell do you identify as both female and trans and non-binary? No, seriously, how can you be all three of those things? Because if she identifies as a female, and she's clearly biologically female, and she somehow identifies as trans and is non-binary, like, what the fuck?
I have the right to be in spaces where I feel safe. If a trans woman needs to be in a woman's space to be safe, that is her right. That is her right.
So this is actually Villain Report, who sadly passed away, and he was a freaking Chad at arguing with these people and staying calm no matter what they were doing. But you heard what she just said, which is this is one of the key issues with this whole strange thing going on the left, that there's a hierarchy. Because she said, I have a right to feel comfortable, in my spaces. And if you listen, she's going to go on to explain the contradiction.
I am a biological pussy-having person, okay? I have a uterus.
Women don't feel safe with male genitalia in their private space.
So here we come into the situation where the left eats its tail. Because she's saying that she has a right to feel safe, even if that means that nobody around her feels safe. Like, this is one of the things that happens to some of the crazy anarchists, too, is that they believe their rights should go so far as to include, essentially, inhibiting the rights of others. It's an extremely selfish perspective, and it doesn't even make any fucking sense. Kind of like her identifying as three things that are contradictory to one another.
Genitalia, piece of shit. Trans women are women. How about that? Genitalia does not mean anything about gender, okay? Genitalia does not mean if somebody's sexualizing somebody else's genitalia, that's on them. That's on that woman. They were not threatening her. They were not trying to. They're not trying to sexually harass her.
So if you choose to sexually identify somebody else's genitalia, that's on you. Like, what the hell? Okay, so you'll also notice that nobody wants to talk about the children. I guess, is it on the children if they sexualize somebody's genitalia? Is that on them? Again, none of it makes any fucking sense. I'm not even anti-trans, and I cannot wrap my head around this bullshit. This kind of nonsense, especially with Antifa taking up this trash, it just makes Antifa look fucking stupid. Like, this isn't even fighting fascism. This isn't fighting any kind of oppressive force. There was no fascism going on by people coming out to protest against this issue. So basically what it amounts to is that the trans activists in this situation co-opt Antifa and, just to give them an excuse to fucking beat the shit out of people at a spa. And if you watch my earlier video on this, it looks like Antifa created the incident in the first place.
Trans women are women. It's not about biology here. Being a woman is not Get out! You're not a woman and you're not trans. So stop speaking for that.
This guy too right here. Get out. Get. Nobody's touching you. Nobody's touching you. Get. Nobody's fucking touching you. I'm standing right here. I'm allowed to stand here. Get. I'm allowed to stand right here. Get. Hey, what are you doing? Don't. Hey. You guys gonna do something like this? I'm gonna put my hand. They don't give a fuck about you. Get out.
I can't tell you how intimidated I would be by somebody in a hot pink wig screaming, "Get out" at me. Don't forget, these are supposed to be the people who are opposing oppression, yet they want to order people around. I again kind of come back to the point that you can't be anti-fascist and be pro-censorship. Censorship is a central function of how fascism maintains its control over people. And I think part of the problem is that these people are now reading critical theory books, and they think that censoring ideas that are against their ideas is somehow protecting them. And if you remember my earlier video when I was talking about Ibram X. Kendi and his unfree speech of trying to redefine what censorship is in the same way that they tried to redefine what racism is, to make it so that no, this is unfree speech. This isn't free speech because it doesn't agree with me. Human beings cannot be trusted with the power to decide what is allowed to be said and what is not. Just like Derek Jensen said on my recent video with him, if you don't like someone else's book, write a better book. If you don't like somebody else's argument, make a better argument. They're not convincing anybody with this bullshit. And I think that's part of the problem. They know they can't convince anybody because this is an illogical, irrational argument. There's no way to justify this. And I'm getting private messages from other trans people who are saying that this is fucking bullshit because they recognize that this situation is only going to create more problems for trans people. So anyway, I'm going to have a lot more stuff coming out, hopefully a lot of it today. I took a break there for a while. So that was one of my old videos, and it featured Villain Report, who you guys can listen to me interview. Unfortunately, Villain passed away, but he was legendary for confronting Antifa and having those calm, rational debates with them. He was absolutely amazing, also just making them trip up in their logic and doing all of it really well under threat of violence, because after Antifa figured out who he was, they would target him. He also got bear-maced by people from the right. So I miss that guy. It was fun being able to talk to him while he was around, but checking out the chat, but yeah, you basically, you watch that and you see how these weird contradictions can happen, because that person believed that she was female and trans and non-binary. So that means that she's female and then somehow trans, which would mean that maybe she really believes she should be male, but then is somehow non-binary, which means neither. This immediately brings, the original time I did this, I thought about doing a parody and throwing the Transformers Triple Changer cartoon up, and that shows my age, but there used to be Transformer toys that would turn into three things. But the point is that girl was standing next to a violent mob lecturing somebody specifically to say that it was somehow possible to be both female and trans and non-binary. This is like being in first, second, and third gear in your car all at the same time. So, and you guys sat there and listened to me read that word salad that was their curriculum. It's like, how does the hell does this even make any sense? And how are kids supposed to make sense of this? Or are they? The reality is that they just want everybody to be able to identify any way they want, any moment they want, and and more importantly, they want to be able to punish anyone who doesn't go along with it. And that is absolutely screwed up. Two contradictions make a sound argument. Yes, I like that. They cancel out. It's like two rights don't make a, two lefts. No, I'm sorry, two wrongs don't make a right, but two rights do make a left. See, I can't even freaking talk like that, bro. And yes, might makes right. That tends to be how Antifa does things. Like that was actually, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what happened at the Wii Spa, but the shit that went on at the Wii Spa was some of the most just nasty violence I've ever seen met out by Antifa. They were smacking people in the head with skateboards and opening head wounds on them. And, one of the things I always bring up about that is that they were talking like they were big, bad, mean Antifa scaring off the transphobes, but they went and attacked soccer moms and peaceful protesters and street preachers outside the Wii Spa. And they did all of it the whole time, claiming that it was a hoax, that anybody exposed their penis to a child. And then come to find out, nope, that is exactly what happened. That was real. It was never a hoax. And Antifa people lied about it for weeks, until the evidence finally came out. But they were brutally beating people. Like, they were not, and it was all supposedly in the name of trans rights. And the thing that I actually called them out directly about was, if you guys are so worried about that, your LA Antifa showing up to beat up, soccer moms and street preachers in the name of trans rights. Well, right there in Los Angeles, you could go to MacArthur Park, where MS-13 straight up murders trans people. They stabbed one of them in the throat, but you're not going to see any kids in black hoodies wearing bicycle helmets heading over to MacArthur Park. And the reason why is because they might actually fight back. And the police may not be in a position to stop them from fighting back. In fact, what would end up happening is an awful lot of dead kids in black hoodies. Digital Odyssey says, all of my best friends are leftists that believe in this. It's so hard to talk to them about it because they easily get mad about it, and I don't want to lose their friendship. I've already lost a few friendships about, specifically because of this. I've had people demand that I take my channel down or they're going to stop talking to me. And that was actually just about trans athletes in sports, where I make it clear I don't hate trans people. But these sport categories were not made because of how people identify. They were made due to certain biological realities. When it comes to being able to talk to them, I don't know what to tell you, aside from the fact that in some cases it may just come down to it. You just got to kind of let them figure it out for themselves. And then eventually the time will come, when what usually has to happen is that people have to turn on them. Once the system somehow turns on them, that's when they start to wake up. When they go, well, wait a minute, I'm not racist, but for some reason I said something 10 years ago on Twitter. Now they all think I'm racist. Man, how many other people do they do this to? Unfortunately, it often takes moments like that. MS-13 will fight back, but with machetes. Yeah, it would not go well. It would not go well at all. I don't get these people. What makes people go all in on gender ideology? That's one of the things about the John Money stuff that we're going to talk about, but they really believe it, and it's pushed really hard in the universities, and it's being pushed by people who should have had the credentials to be aware of the fact that this is bad science. If John Money's experiment of telling a couple to raise one of their identical twin children as a woman ended in that person, first of all, detransitioning, second of all, ruining their life, third of all, finally killing themselves, how is that considered to be a positive? That this means that this works? It's unbelievable. Defooing is another cult tactic. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that word. Got to distance those who are ignorant about your well-being, benefit out of your life, and replace it with the cult and its members. That's basically what happens, because I have one trans friend who they didn't just trans out of their gender, they transed out of their entire life. The only person that they still talk to, I guess, is like their mom, and their girlfriend from their previous life. And that's it. Everybody else has been cut out. And they say, yep, it's about power, not science or biology. I would agree with that. And they want the power to be able to change reality, as and when they see fit. And that's where they become my enemy. It's not going to happen, at least not on my watch, at least not without me saying or doing something about it. Sorry for you guys who came late. This has been a good stream. You guys can obviously watch it back at the beginning. I will do multiple parts about this if I get enough feedback, if you guys want to get into this. But the parts that I felt were the most important were just the parts of the curriculum that were specifically for kindergartners that literally had just explicit naked pictures of kids, and body parts like up close to the vagina and stuff like that. I cannot fathom why kindergartners need to talk about that. And then the part where this is all colonized, it's all white people's fault. This notion that, gender ideology or gender identity is a thing, was only binary, it was all white people's fault. They had to put that in there too. It's like, so when people lie to you and claim that this isn't happening in schools, show them this. And I linked the PDF dump that has all those files in the description of this stream. So be sure to share it. And get back with me, guys. Join us on Discord. Our Discord is very active, and it's the same rules as in my chat, just no personal attack. And we have some great debates that go on in my Discord. The reason my Discord is important to you guys, or should be anyway, is that that's where I post all of my stuff. And Discord is the only place where I can be absolutely sure that you're going to get notifications that I've been on. And I still get people who occasionally will come back and they'll comment, on something, that that I said, and like, oh man, how did I get unsubscribed? So YouTube algorithm has me frozen. The 2 boosts in subscribers that I recently got went from going on Sitch and Adams show, and then from on Good Logic's show again, and that's been it. I don't get new subscribers anymore, so it's going to be word of mouth or nothing. If you guys enjoy this work, you're going to have to support it yourself. It kind of comes down to that. You can also check me out on BitChute. You can check me out on Rumble. Support me in other platforms. I put it on everywhere, even though I don't even get paid anything for BitChute and Rumble. It's more for me about I don't really want to make a lot of money doing this. I'd like to be able to be whole, but by whole for me is like white trash living standards. So if I could just keep driving my clunky beat up car, and living in my terrible apartment, I'd be satisfied, Yeah, and Kirsty Kin says you found me from WYSIWYG. Yep, and ironically, I found WYSIWYG because of all the drama that went down at the Wii Spa, because Antifa brutally attacked him there. And he wasn't even involved in all of this right versus left stuff, really. I mean, he was a conservative back then, but he didn't really, he was just covering it because he covers things in general. Like, it was his whole thing, was trying to be alternative news. For those of you who haven't checked out WYSIWYG, if you're my, especially my patriotic, conservative, MAGA crowd who watches my show, I guess, according to my most recent poll, make up about 17% of my audience. You guys should definitely check out WYSIWYG TV. I'll make sure it's featured in here somewhere. When it's about the kids, I'm a pussy about that subject. I'll go hardcore to protect. And I basically believe, I agree with you, and I have kids, so that makes it even more personal, Scrappy. I think that that's part of the problem. One of the other things that John Money believes is that kids get, how did he put it, imprinted. So they believe that early exposure to sexual stuff is what imprints people's sexuality and has a more permanent effect on them. And I'd say that there is something to that, because people who've been molested sometimes turn into molesters themselves, for example. But that is, in my opinion, why it's so important to them that they be allowed to have these conversations with kids without their parents present, to try to imprint on them the idea that they could be non-binary or gay or whatever, even if they're not. And that's why I said, guys, your enemy is not the LGBTQ community itself. Your enemy is these people who've just taken over, the whole thing. And again, if you haven't yet, you should check out Gays Against Groomers on Twitter, because there are LGBTQ people who have had enough of this shit, and they want kids to be left alone, so that's real. And it's important that we support people who do that, because they're doing the thing that I've been saying has been a problem for the left for a while not doing, which is, okay, well, it's all well and good for you to say shit like we don't agree with violent protests, but if you don't fucking talk about it or confront it, then that's complicit. You're being complicit. So it's the same thing with this. That's why I did the 2 videos, are they coming for your kids? And they are coming for your kids, so it's because of the fact that the LGBT community does not even want to talk about this. They basically have turned into the Catholic Church about it. They just don't want to discuss it. And if you bring it up, then it just must mean you're bringing up right-wing talking points or some bullshit like that. And they're making it easier for some of these pedophiles to get access to kids as a consequence of that. If you're going to create a space where an adult that's not you has direct and private access to your children, okay, multiple things that I learned when I was becoming certified to be a sports coach, you have to go through certain classes, was that one of the first red flags is content that is, like graphic. So like the slides that I just showed you guys, they're supposed to be handed out to kindergartners that show penises and vaginas up close. So there you got that. Then one of the other red flags is adults that are not in the, that are not you, meaning the parent, talking about sex with your kids. So we're creating this weird kind of gray area, where there's this protected class of people that are allowed to talk to your kids without your permission, who will encourage your kids to keep secrets about what it is that they're hearing, okay, in those classes. This is real. And when they lie about it, it just makes people even more suspicious, justifiably so. So it doesn't even make any strategic sense. If you're, I, for one, I want to be clear. If there is an actual gay kid in a class, I don't want somebody, trying to pray the gay away on them or calling them names or trying to bully them. That I'm not on board with any of that. Leave the fucking kid alone. Period. It's not your job to get involved in that. And to me, that's actually the reason why I don't want adults that are not me discussing sexuality with my kids, is because of I remember what it was like, when religious whack jobs had way too much control over what was going on the state, where the people who don't value separation of church and state. I don't like that. But I also don't like people who have their own agenda that includes trying to imprint my young child with their views on things. I want my child's sexuality to be able to, to grow on its own. In my house, I've already told them if they ever came to me and said they were gay, that's fine. They know that, but I have 2 straight kids. So I was going to try to be the cool dad of a gay person, but missed my opportunity. And I'm pretty sure I'm probably done having children. Not that I wouldn't have more, but I don't think I'm going to be dating ever again. I'm well past my prime. You girls and, our subtle flirtations about you liking my voice are probably the extent of my relationships now. But anyway, Midwest Mystic says, I downloaded those slides. It feels wrong even having this on my hard drive, but it's important for showing other people the proof. Yes, exactly. And that's why I'm doing it, because they're just lying about it. They're trying to claim it doesn't exist. Kirstykin says, I was raised to treat others how you would want to be treated, as long as you're okay to me and I'm okay to you. My daughter has always been able to talk to me about anything. Right. For me, what bothers me is that all of this shit is going to do is make further divide us. It's the same thing with the way that the race activism works. And you guys have already heard my rants about it. If you're new to the channel, you should check out my video specifically about why science shows us that these strategies don't work. They actually cause a negative knee-jerk reaction that is the opposite of what you think you want. When the LGBTQ club showed up in my town, because my son talks to them, I said, what you should tell them to do is they should go out and do good deeds, like cleaning up the neighborhood or helping old people mow their lawns and stuff, because that would create a positive image of their LGBTQ club. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to paint a rock outside of the elementary school with a bunch of LGBTQ symbolism. And then the adults in the situation tried to lie and say that that's just shapes and colors. Why are you worried about it? And I said, yeah, sorry, this isn't my first rodeo. That's the trans flag. That's the pansexual flag. That, they just lied. They just openly lied about what was on the rock, and in a really bad, stupid way. That honestly, at that point, just makes all the conservatives in the town freak the fuck out, because now you're just lying straight to my face. And I got a screenshot of one of them just openly saying, "Well, Neil, you have to understand. This is when they think I'm on their side. That we have to be able to talk to these kids without their parents, because their parents are not going to talk to them about this stuff, and it's really important." No, it's not. It's none of your business. It's not. And then come to find out, as I exposed in the "Are They Coming for Your Kids" video, right here in my home state of Michigan, there was in fact a teacher who got up in front of one of these board meetings, to chastise parents for saying that there should be something wrong about, some of these books that are making their way to the curriculums, to tell them how dumb they are for trying to stop them, and these kids are hungry for knowledge and all that. Come to find out, the guy's a pedophile. He got arrested for pedophilia like recently. And he was a teacher working in the faculty. So we have to be aware of this stuff, guys. And if I do want a world where kids are free to be themselves, but I don't want a world where kids are being groomed to be something they may not be. And that's really where this problem is coming from, is that they're telling these adults are telling themselves that they're doing the right thing by trying to expose these kids to this. And then in one of the videos that was in the really good grooming video that Fat Otaku did, just pointed out that they go to these conferences and they're told to target the kids who don't have any friends, find out about them, invite them to the group. And then what puts them in a situation where the kid wants to have friends. Well, if all the people in the group that they want to make friends with are all non-binary, gay, whatever, they're going to try to find a way to fit into that group. And that may include taking on an identity for themselves that is not even accurate. And that's where the problems lie. One of the things Jordan Peterson points out that they hate is that 80% of kids who show gender dysphoria or, confusion about their bodies or whatever, if left to their own devices, will grow out of it and just be gay. So why are we doing this then? I think it has a lot to do with the Benjamins. It's money. They get like $70,000 a pop for the surgeries or something. And then after you've had those surgeries, then you are subject to basically being dependent on big pharma for enormous amounts of money for the hormones for the rest of your life. That's it. That's another cult tactic. Target the most vulnerable and confused. Correct. And yes, that is in fact a cult. That's how they operate, and they don't like anybody bringing up the light of day, and then they're very big on shunning people for not going along with it. So in any case, folks, that's going to do it for today. I gave you a 2-hour stream. Thank you very much. Sorry for it to take that long for me to get out stuff. There was another thing I wanted to do content about, and I didn't. And it's not because I didn't want to break the story. Now it's kind of unfortunate because now everybody knows about it. But Joshua Zeminski and his wife are now in jail. And I was going to bring Kevin Mathewson on, who actually is the writer of the Kenosha County Eye, to discuss this. I'm going to see if I can still get him on about it, but it's kind of old news at this point. But I'd still like to talk to him about it. But those two people that for some reason are just allowed to continue going through the revolving door of the criminal justice system finally got arrested because they went on a crime spree. It took them just committing as many crimes as they wanted, like Bonnie and Clyde, for somebody to finally do something about them. And in an embarrassing way, the media actually reported that Joshua Zeminski was the man shot by Kyle Rittenhouse. This is how stupid this shit is. So I'm going to get into that. There's some other news I'm going to talk about. I have not completely abandoned. I'm going to talk about the Weather Underground at some point. That's still going to happen. The Weather Underground was the terrorist 60s group that still obviously wields influence in the violent activism that you see in Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Their jargon is very similar. I'm going to be doing stuff about, I want to do a video specifically about child rearing and how it has changed in recent years, because I think that has a lot to do with a lot of our problems. I'm not going to say that, I don't want to say that it's going to be a pro spanking video, but I'm going to get into some of the science that was used to talk parents out of spanking and how there's a lot of flaws in the way that it was approached. Big surprise. And to go on further to point out that in addition to no spanking, some of these quote unquote experts want us to do no yelling, no timeouts. And then some of them want no punishment at all. So what kind of kids are coming out the other side of that? Well, they get to college, and for some reason they have more mental illness, more anxiety, more problems with self-esteem. So it would seem to me that something about punishment that was developed in in evolution over the last thousands of years, there must be something to it. And I'm concerned that the new parenting, and I put that in quotes, that obviously was not researched very well, is going to do very permanent damage to our society, especially as those parents raise their own kids. So, in any case, what else was I working on? I think that's it for now. We'll talk about more of this stuff later. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Please like, subscribe, click the like button if you haven't already, ring the bell, and join me on hy.page-v radio so you can join the Discord, even if you don't plan to participate. The Telegram is also pretty quiet. You can join the Telegram, but it's really the only way to be sure that you get all my stuff. If you go to hy.page/v radio, it's basically like a link website where you can find me on Rumble, BitChute, all those other places. Like I said, I don't even know if this stream is going to stay up. I'm trying to leave it up, but I put some stuff in here, that if YouTube wanted to ban it, then, they could probably try to do that. So most of my streams make their way over to Odyssey and Rumble as well, provided that they, exist long enough for that to happen. Thanks again, guys. Also, if you have any topics that you want me to cover, please don't hesitate to share them with me, which is something else you can do with my social media. If you like this work and you would like to support what I'm doing financially, which will also, as a consequence, lead to more content because I'll have more time to prioritize to this. I've also been able to try to figure out ways to make little bits of money here and there to keep myself going because I'm still, partially paralyzed and having trouble figuring out how I'm going to get work. You can do so also at hy.page/v radio. You can do it via Patreon, PayPal, Subscribestar. I also have like Venmo and Cash App if you really want to do that. I appreciate you guys' support. It's helped me a lot, actually. And again, I'm not looking to make a fortune here, just a little bit here and there. Just enough to put gas in my car, stuff like that. And thanks again for tuning in, folks. Until next time, remember, the 5th of November.